The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the HS Prometheus as it glided silently through the dark void. Stars twinkled in the distance like scattered diamonds on black velvet. The ship's sleek hull, painted in the traditional gray and blue colors of the human space fleet, reflected the distant starlight, making it shimmer like a ghost in the darkness. Commander Jin-Woo Park stood tall on the bridge, his experienced eyes scanning the holographic displays floating before him. The Prometheus was his first command, and more importantly, humanity's most advanced warship. Even now, during its shakedown cruise, the ship's experimental systems were performing beyond expectations. Engineering reports all systems nominal, Commander, reported Lieutenant Da-hyun from his station. The quantum core is running at optimal efficiency. Jin-Woo nodded, satisfaction evident in his slight smile. The Prometheus represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a warship built with a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien technology found in an ancient derelict ship just 3 years ago. Security Chief Hae-Newell stood at her station, monitoring the ship's defensive systems. Her short black hair and sharp features reflected the blue glow of her console as she ran another diagnostic on the experimental shield generators. The shields were unlike anything humanity had developed before, capable of adapting to different types of weapons fire. The peaceful routine of the shakedown cruise was shattered when the emergency communications channel suddenly crackled to life. Static filled the bridge speakers before resolving into a desperate voice. "This is Kepler Colony. We are under attack. Unknown hostile forces have entered the system. Our defenses are failing. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need immediate assistance." The bridge crew froze for a moment as the gravity of the situation sank in. Kepler 186f was one of humanity's most distant colonies, home to over 10,000 settlers. It was also one of their most important outposts, rich in rare minerals essential for spaceship construction. "Show me," Jin-Woo commanded, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The main view screen came to life, displaying the incoming footage from Kepler Colony. What they saw made even the most seasoned crew members gasp. A fleet of ships unlike anything they had ever seen before hung in orbit around the colony world. The alien vessels appeared to be made of some sort of crystalline material, their hulls shimmering like cut diamonds in the red light of Kepler 186f's dwarf star. Hae-Newell's hands tightened on her console as she watched the colony's orbital defense platforms falling one by one. The best weapons humanity had developed were barely leaving scratches on the alien vessel's shields. Energy beams and kinetic rounds simply dissipated against their defenses like rain on a window. "Multiple nuclear detonations detected in orbit," reported the sensor officer. "No effect on enemy vessels. Colony ground defenses report critical damage to main power generators." Jin-Woo's jaw tightened as he watched another defense platform explode. These unknown aliens, whoever they were, possessed technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. The colony wouldn't last long without help. How long to reach Kepler 186 at maximum speed? Jin-Woo asked, though he already knew the answer. 6 hours, 17 minutes, sir, replied the navigation officer. But the quantum core is still untested at maximum power for extended periods. Jin-Woo straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. The Prometheus might be experimental, but it was also the only ship within range capable of helping the colony. They had no choice. "All hands, this is the commander speaking." Jin-Woo's voice echoed throughout the ship. "Battle stations, we are responding to an emergency at Kepler Colony. This is not a drill." The ship's corridors filled with the sound of running feet as crew members rushed to their combat positions. Red alert lights began flashing throughout the vessel as weapon systems came online and armor plates shifted into position. "Plot a course to Kepler 186f," Jin-Woo ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Maximum speed. Divert all non-essential power to the quantum drive." As the Prometheus's engines flared to life, pushing the ship to speeds no human vessel had ever achieved before. Jinwoo could only hope they would arrive in time. Whatever these crystalline ships were, whatever this unknown enemy wanted, they were about to learn that humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. The experimental battleship accelerated into the darkness of space, carrying with it the hopes of 10,000 colonists and the future of humanity itself. The real test of the Prometheus was about to begin, and failure was not an option. In the depths of the Prometheus's engineering section, Lieutenant Da-hyun wiped sweat from his forehead as he studied the quantum core's readings. The massive cylinder of swirling energy pulsed with an eerie blue glow, its power output pushing well beyond recommended limits. Warning indicators flashed across his screens, each one a reminder that the ship simply wasn't ready for what they were about to attempt. The quantum core had only been installed last week, its integration barely complete when they'd started this shakedown cruise. Now they were pushing it to full power, racing toward what would certainly be the hardest test any prototype ship had ever faced. Power fluctuations in sections 3 through 7, reported one of his engineering crew. The containment fields are holding, but the stress levels are climbing. Da-hyun's fingers flew across the control panels, making minute adjustments to power flow and containment parameters. The ship's AI core was learning and adapting as quickly as it could, but managing the vast energy flows through untested systems was pushing its capabilities to the limit. Up on the bridge, Communications Officer Myra Lee listened intently to the stream of messages from Kepler Colony. Her face grew darker with each new transmission she intercepted. "Commander," she called out, turning to face Jinwoo. "I'm analyzing the attack patterns. The Raxa ships are being selective in their targets. They're destroying infrastructure, power plants, defense systems, communication arrays, but they're carefully avoiding civilian areas." Jinwoo frowned, studying the tactical display. "They're not here to exterminate. They want something." "Sir." Mayre's voice rose with urgency. "New transmission from the colony. The Raxa are concentrating their attacks on the mining sector. All major mining facilities have been targeted." Security Chief Hae Newell pulled up detailed scans of the attack zones. The pattern matches. They're focusing on areas with high concentrations of rare earth elements and heavy metals. This isn't random. They're after our resources. The ship shuddered suddenly, causing everyone to grab their stations for support. The quantum core's power output had spiked again, sending ripples through the ship's systems. "Engineering to bridge." Da-hyun's voice crackled over the comm. "Sir, the prototype shields are becoming unstable. The power requirements at this speed are causing fluctuations in the shield matrix. We can't guarantee they'll hold under sustained fire." Jinwoo's jaw tightened as he considered their options. The Prometheus was humanity's most advanced warship, but it was still just a prototype. Most of its systems had never been tested in actual combat conditions. They were rushing into battle with untried weapons, unstable shields, and an AI that was still learning to manage it all. "How long until we reach the colony?" he asked. 4 hours, 12 minutes at current speed," the navigation officer reported. "Any faster, and we risk burning out the quantum core." Another transmission from the colony filled the bridge speakers, this one filled with the sounds of battle and desperation. "Defense line breached in Sector 7. They're landing troops now. Please, if anyone can hear us." Jinwoo stood from his command chair, his decision made. He opened a channel to the entire ship. "All hands, this is the commander speaking. I won't lie to you. We're heading into a situation we're not fully prepared for. The Prometheus is untested. Our systems are experimental, and we're about to face an enemy with technology far beyond our current capabilities." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But we're all that stands between the Raxa and our people on Kepler Colony. 10,000 lives depend on us. Throughout history, humanity has faced overwhelming odds and prevailed through courage, ingenuity, and determination." The bridge crew straightened in their seats as he continued. This ship represents the best of human innovation and technology. We may be untested, but so were all great ships before their first battle. The Prometheus may be a prototype, but her crew is the finest in the fleet. Engineering. Divert all available power to engines and shields. Tactical. Begin combat simulations using what we know of Raxa weapons. Communications. Compile all tactical data from the colony's defensive actions. I want to know everything about how these crystalline ships fight. His voice hardened with determination. We're going to show these aliens what humanity's first prototype battleship can do. Not just for the colony, but for all of humanity. Battle stations. The crew responded with renewed purpose, their initial fears replaced by determination. They might be outgunned and untested, but they would not go down without a fight. The Prometheus continued its rush through space, its experimental systems humming with power, ready to make history, one way or another. Space twisted and bent as the Prometheus tore through the fabric of reality, emerging from hyperspace in a burst of blue light at the edge of the Kepler system. The massive red dwarf star loomed ahead, its dim crimson light casting an eerie glow across the bridge. Tactical Officer Sunhei's fingers danced across her console, ringing up the battle display. 3 massive Raxa destroyers hung in orbit around Kepler 186f, their crystalline hulls gleaming like deadly jewels as they methodically bombarded the colony's remaining defenses. Multiple energy signatures detected, Sunhei reported, her voice tense. Their weapon systems are operating on principles we've never encountered. The energy outputs are off the charts. Through the main view screen, they watched as one of the alien ships fired a beam of pure white energy that cut through a colonial defense platform like it was made of paper. The platform exploded silently in the vacuum of space, adding more debris to the field of destruction around the colony. Core, begin analysis of their attack patterns, Commander Jinwoo ordered. Look for any weaknesses in their firing sequences. The ship's AI responded immediately, its quantum processors churning through combat data. Analysis indicates a 3.7-second recharge period between main weapon discharges. Shields appear to fluctuate during this interval. Jinwoo leaned forward in his command chair. This was their chance, a small window of opportunity, but it might be enough. Weapons, prepare primary plasma cannons. Target the nearest destroyer. Time your shots to match their recharge cycle. The Prometheus glided forward silently, its experimental stealth systems masking their approach. The Raxa ships continued their bombardment, seemingly unaware of the human warship's presence. Energy weapons charged, Sunhei announced. Target locked. Waiting for the next recharge cycle. Seconds ticked by like hours as they watched the nearest destroyer fire another devastating blast at the colony. As its weapon discharged, Core's voice rang out. Shield fluctuation detected. Firing solution optimal. Fire, Jinwoo commanded. The Prometheus's plasma cannons roared to life, launching brilliant streams of superheated matter. The shots, guided by Core's precise quantum calculations, struck the Raxa destroyer exactly as its shields were at their weakest. The alien vessel's crystalline hull couldn't withstand the concentrated energy blast. Cracks spread across its surface like spider webs, and atmosphere vented into space in glittering trails. Direct hit, Sunhei shouted. Enemy vessel showing significant structural damage. But their victory was short-lived. The other 2 Raxa destroyers reacted with frightening speed, their massive forms turning toward the Prometheus with deadly grace. Multiple weapon locks. Haenul warned from her security station. They're bringing all batteries to bear. The space around the Prometheus erupted with energy beams as both Raxa ships opened fire. The experimental shields flared brilliant blue under the assault, struggling to deflect the overwhelming firepower. In engineering, Da-Hyun's hands flew across his controls as warning lights flooded his displays. Circuits were overloading under the strain of maintaining the shields against such powerful weapons. The quantum core's output fluctuated dangerously as it tried to supply enough power to all systems. Rerouting power from non-essential systems, he shouted over the comm. Shield stability at 60% and dropping. We can't take much more of this. On the bridge, crew members held onto their stations as the ship shuddered under the continuous barrage. The damaged Raxa destroyer was already beginning to recover, its crystalline hull somehow repairing itself. Core, analyze their repair capabilities. Jinwoo ordered. Find me another weakness we can exploit. The AI's response was interrupted by another violent impact that sent tremors through the ship's frame. Warning klaxons blared as more systems began to redline under the strain. Shield stability at 40%. Haynul reported. Multiple hull breaches on decks 3 through 5. Damage control teams responding. Jinwoo's mind raced through their options. The Prometheus had landed the first blow, proving that the Raxa weren't invincible, but now they were caught between 3 enemy ships with failing shields and overtaxed systems. They needed a new strategy, and they needed it fast. As if reading his thoughts, Corey's voice cut through the chaos. Commander, I have detected a pattern in their shield harmonics. With modifications to our weapon frequencies, we might be able to create a cascading failure in their defensive systems. It was a chance, maybe their only one. The Prometheus had surprised the Raxa once. Now they had to do it again, before their own systems gave out under the alien onslaught. Myray's eyes widened as she finally broke through the complex encryption of the Raxa communications. The alien language patterns flowed across her screen, translated by the ship's computers into readable text. Suddenly, everything made sense. Commander, she called out, her voice cutting through the chaos on the bridge. I know what they're after. The Raxa. They're here for the neutronium deposits. The entire colony was built on top of the largest known concentration in human space. The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical force. Neutronium, the super-dense material formed in the hearts of dead stars, was the holy grail of spacecraft construction. A single gram could power a city for years. The deposits under Kepler colony were worth more than most planets. Jinwoo processed this information quickly, even as another blast rocked the ship. Core, full access granted to all systems. Show us what this ship can really do. The AI's response was immediate. The Prometheus banked hard, its massive bulk moving with impossible grace as it twisted between enemy fire. The maneuver should have torn a ship of its size apart, but the experimental inertial dampeners held, barely. In the medical bay, Dr. Yu Jin braced herself against a wall as the ship performed its incredible dance. Her patients were secured, but supplies crashed from shelves around her. Through the chaos, she continued treating the wounded crew members, their injuries testament to the ferocity of the battle. Hold still, she ordered a burned engineer, applying regenerative gel to his wounds. The ship's movements are automated now. Corey won't let us fall. Throughout the ship, crew members watched in awe as their vessel moved like a fighter craft rather than a battleship. The Prometheus spun and weaved through space, its moves choreographed by an AI, pushing experimental technology to its theoretical limits. The Raxa are adapting to our evasive patterns, Sun Hai reported from Tactical, her fingers dancing across her console. Their targeting algorithms are learning our movements. As if to prove her point, a blast caught the Prometheus's port side, sending tremors through the hull. But even as damage reports flooded in, something extraordinary was happening in engineering. Da-hyun stood before the quantum core, watching as the swirling energy stabilized into a perfect pattern. The experimental system had finally found its rhythm, all components working in perfect harmony. His console showed green across every reading. Bridge, this is engineering, he reported, excitement creeping into his voice. The quantum core is stable. Full synchronization achieved. We can power up the theoretical weapons array. The theoretical weapons array was the Prometheus's ultimate secret, a weapon system so experimental it existed mostly in computer simulations. It was designed to channel the quantum core's energy in ways that defied conventional physics. Jinwoo's voice crackled through the comm. What are the risks? The simulations show a 40% chance of success. Dahyun replied. If it fails, we could lose power to all systems. If it works, we might just have a chance against their shields. Another hit rocked the ship. The shield status dropped to critical levels. We're out of options, Hey Newell announced from her security station. Shields won't survive another direct hit. Jin Woo straightened in his command chair. Sometimes, being a commander meant taking impossible risks. Engineering. Begin weapons array startup sequence. Core, calculate optimal firing solution. The ship's internal lighting dimmed as power was diverted to the experimental weapon. The quantum core's hum rose to a pitch that made teeth vibrate. In engineering, Dahyun watched as energy levels climbed beyond anything they'd ever tested. Array charging, he reported, his voice tense. Power levels at maximum safe limits, now exceeding them. The core is holding stable. Through the view screen, they watched as the Raxa ships moved to surround them, their crystalline hulls glowing with charged weapons. It would come down to who fired first. Array charged, Dahyun announced. Ready to fire on your command. Jin Woo looked at the tactical display one last time. The Raxa ships had them trapped, but they didn't know what the Prometheus was about to unleash. Sometimes, humanity's greatest advantage was its ability to do the unexpected. All hands, he announced shipwide. Brace for weapons discharge. Let's show them what human ingenuity can do. The surface of Kepler 186F had become a battlefield. Colonial Defense Commander Taeyong stood in the makeshift command center, converted from an old mining control room deep underground. Holographic displays showed the movements of both colonist defenders and Raxa ground forces across the settlement's sprawling industrial complex. Section 4 reporting in. A voice crackled through the comm. The aliens are pushing toward the main neutronium processing facility. Their armor it's like nothing we've seen before. Regular weapons just bounce off. Taeyong studied the tactical display, watching as red dots representing Raxa forces advanced steadily through the colony's defenses. The aliens moved with military precision, their crystalline armor gleaming under the red dwarf's light. Standard weapons, even military-grade plasma rifles, seemed to have little effect on their otherworldly protection. Hold your positions, he ordered. Help is coming. Engineering Team 7, status report on the modified mining equipment. A young engineer's face appeared on one of the screens. Behind her, other colonists worked frantically to modify industrial machinery. Sir, we've rewired the sonic drilling arrays. They're not weapons, but the resonance frequencies they generate should affect anything with a crystalline structure. Above the colony, the Prometheus engaged in its desperate battle with the Raxa fleet. The experimental battleship's movements were visible even from the ground, flashes of weapons fire illuminating the sky like artificial lightning. Commander, Communications Officer Myray's voice came through from the Prometheus. We're coordinating with colonial forces now. Core has detected something interesting about the Raxa ground troops. Their armor appears to use the same crystalline technology as their ships. Taeyong's eyes lit up with sudden understanding. The mining equipment, specifically the sonic drills used to break up neutronium deposits, operated by generating precise resonance frequencies. If the Raxa's technology was truly crystalline in nature, all defense teams, fall back to the mining facilities, he ordered. Draw them in close to the sonic array positions. Engineering, reconfigure those drills to maximum power. Let's see how their fancy armor handles industrial mining equipment. The plan spread quickly through the defenders' ranks. Colonial forces began a fighting retreat, drawing the Raxa troops deeper into the industrial complex. The aliens, confident in their superior armor and weapons, followed eagerly. Inside the mining facilities, colonists worked with desperate speed to position the modified sonic drills. These massive machines, normally used to break apart the hardest materials known to science, were about to be repurposed as weapons. First wave of Raxa forces entering optimal range, reported a sensor operator. They're still advancing, no sign they suspect anything. Tae-young watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. The Raxa troops moved with mechanical precision, their crystalline armor sparkling as they approached the apparent weakness in the colony's defenses. "Now," he commanded, "activate all sonic arrays." The air itself seemed to vibrate as dozens of industrial sonic drills activated simultaneously. The frequency was barely audible to human ears, but its effect on the Raxa was immediate and devastating. Their crystalline armor began to vibrate, then crack. The aliens staggered, their formations breaking as their protective shells shattered like glass. Colonial defenders, protected by hastily modified mining ear protection, emerged from cover with conventional weapons, finally able to harm their previously invulnerable enemies. "It's working," someone shouted over the comm. "Their armor can't handle the resonance frequencies." The Raxa troops attempted to retreat, but they were caught in a trap of their own making. More sonic arrays activated, catching them in overlapping fields of destructive vibrations. Their once impervious armor crumbled, leaving them vulnerable to the colonists' counterattack. Above, the Prometheus seemed to notice their success. "Colonial Command, this is the Prometheus." Jin Woo's voice came through. "Core has analyzed your sonic weapon effectiveness. We're modifying our own weapons to generate similar resonance frequencies against their ships." Tae-young smiled grimly as he watched more Raxa forces fall to the modified mining equipment. Human ingenuity had found a way to turn simple industrial tools into weapons capable of defeating advanced alien technology. "All defense teams, press the advantage," he ordered. "Drive them back from the facilities. Show them why you don't underestimate human colonists." The tide of battle on the ground had turned. The Raxa, their technological advantage neutralized by mining equipment, began a full retreat. But the real test would come from above, where the Prometheus prepared to use this new knowledge against the alien fleet. As Tae-young coordinated the ground forces' advance, he could only hope that the experimental battleship could turn this discovery into victory in space as well. The fate of the colony, and perhaps humanity itself, hung in the balance. The Prometheus hung in space like a wounded predator, its hull scarred from multiple hits but its spirit unbroken. Inside the bridge, Commander Jin Woo watched as the tactical display showed their final attack plan coming together. Years of command experience told him this would be their last chance. "Target their command and control nodes," he ordered, his voice steady despite the stakes. "Core, channel all available power from the quantum core to the experimental weapons array. Configure the output to match the resonance frequencies we detected." The ship's AI responded immediately, directing the immense energy of the quantum core into weapons never before fired in actual combat. Warning indicators flashed across every screen as power levels exceeded design specifications. In engineering, Da-hyun worked frantically to keep the system stable. "The quantum core is reaching critical resonance," he reported. "We'll only get one shot at this before the containment fields fail." Down on the colony's surface, Commander Tae-young supervised the final modifications to the neutronium mining facilities. Massive industrial sonic generators, normally used to break down neutronium deposits, had been rewired to emit a powerful resonance pulse that would match the Prometheus's attack. "All mining facilities report ready," Tae-young announced over the comm link to the ship. "But sir, if the frequencies aren't perfectly synchronized, the feedback could tear apart every crystal structure within range, including our own infrastructure." The stakes couldn't be higher. One miscalculation would mean not just defeat, but the destruction of everything they were fighting to protect. The entire colony held its breath as final preparations were made. On the Prometheus's bridge, Mayre's fingers flew across her communications console. Her role was perhaps the most crucial, synchronizing the attacks from both ship and ground forces into one perfectly timed strike. "Establishing quantum-locked communication with colony control," she reported. "Beginning final synchronization of attack frequencies. Time to optimal firing position. 30 seconds." The Raxa fleet hung in high orbit, their crystalline ships still imposing despite the damage they'd taken. Their strange beauty belied their deadly nature, like diamonds formed into instruments of war. Enemy ships are moving to intercept. Sun Hai called from tactical. They've detected our power buildup. 15 seconds to weapons range. Jin Woo gripped his command chair as the ship shuddered. The quantum core's energy output was pushing the Prometheus beyond its design limits. Hull plates groaned under the strain. 10 seconds. Mirai announced. Colony sonic arrays powering up. Frequency matching in progress. The Raxa ships began to react, their own weapons charging. Crystalline hulls shifted and realigned, preparing for what they must have thought would be another conventional attack. 5 seconds. All frequencies locked. 4, 3. The space between the combatants seemed to crackle with potential energy. 2, 1. Fire. Jin Woo's command rang out across all channels. The Prometheus's experimental weapons array erupted with energy, just as the colony's sonic generators reached full power. The combined attack created a resonance wave unlike anything ever before generated by human technology. The effect on the Raxa ships was immediate and catastrophic. Their crystalline hulls, so resistant to conventional weapons, began to vibrate at their own natural frequency. Cracks appeared across their surfaces, spreading like lightning through glass. Direct hit, Sun Hai shouted. Enemy shields failing. Their hull integrity is dropping rapidly. Through the view screen, they watched as the mighty Raxa fleet began to break apart. The ship's crystalline structures shattered under the perfectly tuned resonance attack, turning the proud vessels into clouds of glittering debris. But the Prometheus was paying a price for its victory. Warning klaxons blared throughout the ship as systems began to fail under the strain. Quantum core approaching critical overload. Dahyun's voice was urgent. We need to power down now, or we'll lose containment. Mirai, signal the colony to shut down their sonic arrays. Jin Woo ordered. Sun Hai, power down weapons. Let's not destroy ourselves along with them. As the combined attack faded, the space around Kepler 186f was transformed. Where once had floated an invincible alien fleet, now drifted clouds of crystalline fragments, sparkling in the red dwarf's light like a field of diamonds. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence for a moment, hardly daring to believe what they had just accomplished. Human ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to take incredible risks had achieved what should have been impossible. Colony control reporting in, Mirai announced, breaking the silence. All Raxa ground forces have been neutralized. The colony is secure. The crystalline fragments of the Raxa fleet drifted through space like a glittering cloud of stardust. In their final moments, as their mighty ships crumbled under the combined resonance attack, the aliens transmitted one last message. The communication didn't carry threats or curses, but something unexpected: respect. You have proven yourselves worthy. The translated message read, we underestimated humanity's ability to adapt and overcome. Remember this day, for others will come. The battle-scarred Prometheus hung in orbit above Kepler 186f, its experimental systems pushed far beyond their design limits. Inside the ship, damage control teams worked tirelessly to stabilize the quantum core and prevent a catastrophic overload. 2 days later, Commander Jin Woo stood beside Colonial Defense Commander Tai Young in the colony's administrative center. Through the reinforced windows, they watched cleanup crews clearing crystalline debris from the streets. The wreckage of the Raxa ground forces sparkled under the red dwarf's light, a beautiful but sobering reminder of the battle's intensity. The mining facilities will need extensive repairs, Tai Young reported, gesturing to a holographic display of the damage assessment. But the neutronium deposits are secure. We've already begun adapting the sonic weapon modifications into permanent defense systems. Jin Woo nodded, his mind on the broader implications of their victory. The Prometheus will need months in space dock. The quantum core is stable, but pushing it to those extremes damaged systems we didn't even know could be damaged. Still, we proved the concept works. Engineers from both ship and colony were already studying the recovered Raxa technology. The crystalline materials, while devastatingly vulnerable to specific frequencies, possessed properties that could revolutionize human engineering. Even in defeat, the aliens had unknowingly given humanity new tools for advancement. "We're receiving messages from other colonies," Myre announced as she entered the room. "Word of our victory is spreading. Some are already requesting the specifications for the modified sonic weapons." The implications were clear. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in spectacular fashion. The defeat of the Raxa fleet proved that humans could stand against advanced alien civilizations, even if victory came at a great cost. High Command is already talking about building more ships like the Prometheus, Jinwoo said, studying a report on his datapad. "Our success here has pushed development schedules ahead by years. They're calling it the Prometheus class now." Outside, a team of colonists carefully loaded a particularly large piece of crystalline debris onto a transport. Research teams would study every fragment, learning what they could from the advanced alien technology. Human ingenuity had turned mining tools into weapons. Now they would turn the weapons of their enemies into tools for advancement. "We should expect more visitors," Tae-young noted grimly. "The Raxa won't be the last aliens to come looking for our resources." Jinwoo agreed. The galaxy was vast, filled with civilizations both more and less advanced than humanity. Some would come as enemies, others as potential allies. The victory over the Raxa had proven that humanity deserved a place among the stars. "Then we'll be ready," Jinwoo replied, watching as the sun set over the colony. The Prometheus was just the beginning. "Every ship we build after this will be better, stronger, combining what we've learned with what we already knew. The quantum core technology, the experimental weapons, the adaptive shields, all would be refined and improved. The next generation of ships would carry humanity's flag across the stars, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them." As night fell over the colony, lights began to come on in the buildings below. Life was returning to normal, but everyone knew things had changed forever. Humanity had faced its first true test among the stars and emerged victorious. The age of human expansion into the cosmos had truly begun, marked not by a peaceful first contact, but by a demonstration of humanity's greatest strengths: ingenuity, determination, and the ability to triumph against overwhelming odds. The stars above seemed brighter somehow, beckoning humanity toward its destiny among them. The Prometheus had shown the way forward, and now others would follow, carrying the hopes and dreams of Earth to distant worlds. The galaxy would never be the same, neither would humanity. End.